Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's AI training. Today, we are talking about Automations 101, putting your business on autopilot. I'm Monique Carlisle. I am the optimization and automation business coach here at Midasweb, and I'm excited to bring to you what's going on in the world of automation. And here's a little tidbit for you. You've been automating things for a very long time. I'm going to show you how. It's taken the next step and it's gone into AI automations, which is different than traditional automations. And that's what we're going to talk about today specifically, is how is AI impacting the world of automations and doing things on autopilot. So as Mark Cuban said a while ago in 1999, if you are not, well, he said it about the internet. If you are in the phase and thinking that, oh, this internet, this AI thing will blow over, I'm afraid you're going to be mistaken. AI is here to stay. So if you are tuning in, I appreciate you being here. It's going to be a wonderful new thing that's going to really accelerate your business. So as we get started, do want to let everybody know that we have a couple of workshops coming up that will dive deeper into all of our AI topics. We're having one tomorrow on our AI Essentials class, and that is for everybody who's brand new to AI. And then we have a lot of advanced classes. So head over to midasweb.com/events. You will see all of those topics coming up and get your seat reserved for those. So what are traditional automations? You've actually been using them. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you an automation that almost everybody has been using for a while. I got to get back to my Zoom and share. It's Excel. You have actually been using automation if you use Excel. It has a wonderful functionality. And today's not an Excel training, but if you tell it to sum all of your totals, then you actually automated that process. That's a traditional automation. If you use if-then statements to process your Excel sheets, it's an automation. If you use any of the automations here, my brain has disappeared for me. Any of the codes and systems and things that you can do with Excel, and there's a lot, you have been using automations. And you can connect in Excel multiple pages and sheets across. Now my internet does not want to work. There we go. Escape. When you have multiple sheets, you can make them talk to each other, and they can even look at the data from one page to another. If you use pivot tables, you can take a whole sheet of data and change it and modify it and filter it automatically within Excel. That is a form of automation that we are very familiar with. Now, they call it traditional automation because it doesn't have any dynamic adaptability. Okay, it does exactly what you ask it to, the same way every single time. So if your formula breaks or you use the wrong text code, it's going to break. So that doesn't have any sort of flexibility, and that's where AI comes in. AI allows to have more flexible automations that adjust based on what you feed it. Another popular automation is your email. If you are using any sort of email filter, you have actually been using an automation to pull out certain information and move it to the top of your inbox, or automatically call it spam, or automatically file it under this folder. Those are automations. An automation is simply anything that does a human task automatically. So instead of you choosing this email and this email to go to this folder, you tell the system what rules to follow. And so you've been using automations for a while. Other common ones are if you have an e-commerce store and you're running your weekly sales statistics, if you have an employee list and you're running your hours or your sales metrics or the time on the phone and you're creating those weekly reports automatically, that's again automation. Now, those don't have a lot of flexibility to do any sort of changes or customizations, so they're considered traditional automations. A lot of people are familiar with Zapier, also called Zapier, depending on which pronunciation you want. And what that does is it connects two different softwares. So Zapier is an old style of automation where you would have like your social media, and then you would have your CRM. And to make them talk to each other, you would have to put a third party in the middle that bridges that gap. You could do the same thing with your Excel and your QuickBooks, or you could do the same thing with your Shopify and your Slack, right? So your messaging channel. Again, to make those two separate softwares talk to each other, you have to put in something in the middle. And then whenever you do X in system one, it triggers and does something Y in system two. That's Zapier. There's a couple other automation softwares, but that's the one that's most commonly used. And so that is a very typical how we've been using automations for years. And now, since AI has come around, we've taken it to the next level. So AI automations are using artificial intelligence to perform those human tasks, but they can learn and adapt and make changes based on what you feed it. So machine learning, so they can do pattern recognition, or using language processing. So all of your ChatGPT models, when you connect ChatGPT to, say, a chatbot on your web widget, and you're handling customer service inquiries or you're booking appointments, those are all automations you can set up. And that is where we're integrating that AI component in your automations processes. A little bit about where ChatGPT came from. So OpenAI is the company that created ChatGPT, and they launched in January of last year. So it's been about a year and a half, and they've gone through a bunch of renditions and upgrades. Now there are a ton of GPTs where you can interact with them and have conversations to do everything from planning to data analysis, code creating, image creation, marketing content, copy, anything and everything. Now we do train on all of that at our other webinars, and we go real deep in an interactive format at our workshops. So we'd love to have you there coming up at any of our monthly workshops. So what are AI automations? We mentioned Zapier. There's another one called IFTTT. It's if this, then that. That is, again, a very similar system to Zapier. And then I'm going to show you two other tools, well, three other tools also that will support you in your automation. Now, why do we want to automate? Well, time. If you are the one clicking through your emails and trying to filter and sort them, that's time you're not spending networking, doing one-to-ones, fulfilling clients, or spending time with your friends and family. So it's a huge time savings. They have found that when you use AI tools, you can give back about 10 to 12 hours per week when they start automating their tasks, okay? Decision-making becomes easier too, because you're starting to pull reports, and I'm going to show you two tools right now that will actually give you suggestions for decision-making as you're working through your different softwares and different inputs from your data. Also, when you start automating, you get less errors. Just by automating your processes, you know the same thing is getting done with every client or every product or every process, because you've set it on that autopilot. It's going to keep going. So now you can really test your processes. Did this website do well? Well, we can see because we've sent it out in the same way. This email, did it do well? We can look at those statistics. Is this employee performing the same way? We can look at that, and we can reduce the errors across the board by having those repetitive tasks. And that way word choice doesn't change. It's really great because I'm going to show you how to create a chatbot here in a minute that we know the chatbot's doing well because it keeps booking appointments, right? So we don't need a human to come in and accidentally say the wrong thing. The chatbot can read the way that the human is responding and texting back, and change its word choice, change its tone, change the way that it interacts with that particular prospect in order to pull them in, which is really, really cool. So, and there's a whole bunch of other great business productivity impacts that happen when you start automating. But let me share my screen again and jump into a couple of tools that you can implement. So Asana is a project organizer. So it's really great if you're doing project management and you have multiple team members working on multiple projects. I do not personally use Asana. I'm just going to say that right there, but I am familiar with its AI capabilities, and I thought this was really cool to share. So, is this the one? All right. So it can give you those status reports, and I could drop this link in the chat if you want to explore it. Salesforce did a much better one. I'm going to show you that one in a second. So it could create rules for you so that it knows what to do and create these workflows for you. Here, let me change this. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've looked at this one. It can give you summaries of the projects, and then it can notify the right people. And of course, all this is done with AI. So it's reading what you're putting into your project and then deciding, okay, what do we need to title it? What do we need to summarize it? Who do we need to connect it to? The one I saw earlier was a lot better. Is the wrong? I apologize. Oh, I was too far down. This makes sense. I was too far down in the sales copy. So here, this is what I was looking for. So what it can do is when you have something you put in, it can suggest and say, uh-oh, we don't have somebody who actually owns this project. And then it'll say, according to this and other similar projects, it thinks that these would be the right people. So it's making that suggestion for you. It's reading the data you're putting in and then making a suggestion for you to make a decision on. If there's missing information from a project, it can notify the right people and say, hey, this looks like it's missing something. Again, it's reading your data and making suggestions based on that, which is very adaptable, okay? In traditional automation, what would happen is you would tell it needs A, B, C, D, and if it's missing D, to notify me, okay? This, you don't really have to tell it. It's gonna read whether it's got to the same pieces as the past projects. Does that kind of make sense? So I found this really, really cool. And then tasks can be updated and all of that. So Asana looks really, really powerful if you are a project manager to incorporate some AI automations to really make your job easier. I really liked Salesforce too. I thought this was really cool. I'm going to scroll up to the top this time. They call it Einstein. And basically it does a lot of the same things that the Asana does, but Salesforce is more about a sales team than a sales, than the project management part. So what this one does is it reads all of your emails and then it can configure all of these pieces of the needs. So it pulls out, almost like summarizes the conversation so that you know what needs to happen. All right. Excuse me. It's got generative AI. So like ChatGPT, it's got that embedded. So if you need to have an email written or anything, it's got that embedded. Again, it's going to read your previous conversations, the data you've given it, and then adapt and create those automations for you. So I thought that was really cool. And then suggesting decisions as well. So if you have a large sales team, Salesforce might be something to explore. If you're doing project management, Asana could be something to explore. Here at Midasweb, we are partial to the high level system. So high level is another automation system. So I'll show you that one last. And this has been a huge time saver for us. It's allowed me to duplicate myself so that I can handle more clients, because invoice reminders, appointment reminders, some traditional things like that get done automatically. But we can also build adaptable chatbots that, again, function automatically. So I built that for a client recently. So I'll start with that. That's our conversation AI. And so we're going to go through a couple of different automations just to kind of show you what's out there. And if you're interested in learning more about the high-level system, that's what I'm most familiar with. We'd love to schedule some time with you later and really dig in and show you the power it can have in your business. So for this one, I have set it to trigger. So all automations need a trigger. They need something to happen before the actions occur. So you have to tell it when is appropriate to start. So that's usually called a trigger. For this one, it's a stale opportunity. So essentially, if there's a person in our pipeline in the system that has been sitting there for 30 days, this is going to trigger. Okay, so it tells me they've been sitting there, they haven't been processed. And what needs to happen? The contact needs an SMS. So without me having to touch the system, without me having to remember we have a 30-day-old lead, they're going to get a message from our business that says, are you looking for roofing services? Of course, ours would say automation or AI training. But as a sample, it would reach out to the client for me. Then it would wait. And then it would read the response. Now, this is really cool. It will read whether that intent was yes, no, or something completely different. So yes, sure, absolutely, send it over. Those are all positives. No, no, thank you, not interested. Those are all negatives. So we can set up an AI to read the response, and then depending on how they responded, segment out the automation and let it run. Now we've set up the chatbot to interact. So this is an automatic response to their yes. I need roofing services. I'm going to ask them a couple of questions. Again, I'm not doing this. The system is. The AI is doing it. So this is one form of automation. Another common form of automation is for lead magnet delivery. So lead magnets are your freebies, right? A tip sheet, a short article, an ebook, something that you are giving away to bring leads into your business. And that one, this one. Nope, that's documents and contracts. I'll show you that in a second. As you can see, there's a lot of different automations. Form filled, here we go. So this automation's trigger is that they submitted a form. Now, just like Zapier, this system and other systems like it will connect multiple softwares. So this actually connects to social media. So if they fill out a form on Facebook, it will send the same information directly to the system, and the system will see, hey, they need this particular lead magnet. So by filling out this form, this automation is triggered, and it delivers an email that says, here's your ebook, or thank you for booking an appointment, or whatever it is that they filled out that form for. And I can deliver that ebook automatically, even at 3 a.m. in the morning when I'm asleep and they're stressing about their health, their business, their finances, their family, whatever they're stressing over that you can solve, you can deliver your lead magnet immediately to them. So this is a simple automation. This would be considered a traditional automation because it's not adaptable. They fill out the form, they get the email. And then another automation that really saves time is getting your contracts, your documents, your proposals sent out on time and signed. So for this one, again, you have to have a trigger. So we set up our documents and then we tell it, oh, here we go, already did the template. So which document is it? It's the demo document. And once that gets sent to my client, the client gets a text. Hey, your document was sent. Then we're going to wait for it to be signed. We're going to wait 2 days for it to be signed and then ask, was it signed? If it wasn't signed, the system will read it. Again, I'm going to emphasize this. I'm not chasing down this document. I'm not having to go see, did they sign it? The system knows. And once the system reads that, yes, they signed it, they'll go down this pipeline that basically drops them out of the workflow. Or if they didn't sign it, got lost in email, in the email flow, then they'll go down this one. And I can be notified, hey, they haven't signed, and then they're going to get a notification. And I can build this as long as I want. But again, I don't have to track these people. The system's doing it for me and letting me know who I need to follow up with these internal notifications. I'll show you one more that I find very, very powerful, and that's the Facebook message flow. This is a little bit of AI in that it's flexible, in that we split the responses. So if you want to do A/B testing or ABCD testing, if you have 4 or 5 or 6 different paths, you can set up a split testing within the automation system. And what will happen is as people come in through your trigger, so whether that's a form filled or they click a link or they build a website, you can actually segment the message that they receive. Now you can test which messages do really well by setting up different message paths. The AI will decide who goes down path A, path B, path C. And as you can see, it's evenly split, but maybe you don't want it evenly split. You could use this for anything from assigning your users. Say Nancy gets 50% of new clients and Johnny gets 10%. You can put 50% of the clients go down path A, which leads to Nancy, and 10% go down the other path that leads to Johnny, and so on and so forth. So you can be very creative with your paths. And again, the AI is going to decide who goes down what. So not super adaptable like ChatGPT would be, but still very powerful when it comes to splitting out and looking and seeing which messages are doing really well, which emails are doing really well, which users are getting the most traction and support and things like that. There are, within the high-level system, there are a ton of actions that you can automate. So you can automate your emails, you can automate your Instagrams, you can automate even your review requests. So if somebody purchases your product 3 months later, if it's a health product, maybe you want to know how they're doing. You can automate that instead of trying to make a note, hey, follow up with Jane in 3 months. It will automatically put them in that flow for you. So there are a ton of these. We're not going to go through all of them today, but if you are interested, if this is intriguing to you, we'd love to dig in and find out, really show how this could be a benefit to your business. Automation has been around in the form of MailChimp, which is email marketing. So email marketing. It's been around with Hootsuite, which is your social planner. It's been around with Salesforce, which is your pipeline opportunity. We looked a little bit at Salesforce here with the AI that they've incorporated. So your Salesforce, and it's been automation is even in your Calendly, which is your calendar booking site. So right now we're looking at an influx of softwares that combine all of those different automation scattered softwares into a single vertical one place. This is our favorite. It is not the only one. By integrating and getting rid of our Calendly, our MailChimp, our Hootsuite, all of that, we ended up saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month. Some businesses save thousands. By implementing AI tools, they can reduce their workforce. So automation ends up replacing your VA. So if you're paying $400 a month for your VA and you automate all of their follow-up activities, you can reduce their workload or eliminate it, or assign them to something a little more powerful, right? Automations also allow you to scale, because once you create a system that works and you worked out the kinks and it's flowing and it's a well-oiled machine, you can drop as many contacts as you want into there and put as many leads, and they'll all get followed up in the same way that you've proven works. So the scalability goes through the roof when you start automating. And the last thing that automation does that has been super helpful for me personally is I don't have to focus on these things, on the mundane, chasing down that next appointment, making sure I call my 10 o'clock appointment at 9 a.m. to remind them, right? Making sure that Zoom link got sent out, making sure that that email nurture campaign went out. I don't have to do all that. So instead, I get to focus on my clients. I get to focus on providing a good service, being present, and solving the problems that they are having, and then building the system that solves those problems for them. So I love our automation system, and it is a very, very powerful tool. That will wrap up kind of Automations 101. As I mentioned, we will be diving deeper into automations, and as a bonus, everybody who comes to our November 22nd automations class gets a free account within High Level so they can practice and play. So I'm very, very excited about that workshop particularly. And so if you are excited about AI automations and the power it can have, would love to have you at any of our workshops to really dive in and see what AI can do for you. I appreciate your joining me. We're going to be turning off the recording now for Q&A. In order to have your questions and answers live on our webinar, you do need to be in person. So if you're watching this on replay, check us out next Thursday at 4 o'clock Central. And we look forward to helping you and your business grow and scale. Thank you so much for joining and watching. Y'all have a great day.